On behalf of your host, Steve D, this is Bruce Buffer saying thank you for tuning in to Xtreme Lyfe. And now, this is the moment Xtreme Lyfe fans around the world have been waiting for. It's time!
Gone into like some weird silly mode with this thing.
Seriously, man, it's
just
unreal. I can't believe people are freaking out. There we go. That looks better.
Yeah, that looks good, man. Yeah. All right. Where the heck are you? You at home?
I'm here at home and stuff like that, and handling some stuff around the house, and fly out on Thursday to DC for PBC on FS1.
Okay, cool, man. Cool. Yeah, you're a busy guy, man. I see you all over the place. And I am so happy we finally got this together.
Yeah, man.
We've been trying for like 2 months.
Man, yeah. Since Wilder Fury, I mean, that put me in a tailspin. And then it's a ton of stuff, man. Man, oh, man.
Yeah, no worries. I know how busy you are, man, because like I said, I see you everywhere. You're like going, doing a lot of boxing events these days.
Yeah, definitely.
You've been in this world a long time, and I appreciate you making the time to come on.
Oh, of course, man, definitely.
It's something I'm glad we were finally able to get going. So
no doubt.
Yeah. So that being said, man, I know you've been in this world a long time. You've been doing a lot of events. I mean, you've been at ESPN for a while now, right? And
I was at ESPN Radio for 5 years. So I was there in Chicago for 5 years. Did some stuff nationally. And then went away from there in September of 2016. And, I've been with PBC since July of 2015. So they started off in March of 2015. I've been with them since July of 2015 and been with TGB Promotions for the past 6 years. So it's been a great run so far, man.
Yeah, well, you do a great job, man.
I've seen that a few pressers.
The PFL presser, you did a great job.
Yeah, that was fun, man. I mean, I just love combat sports. I mean, people think I'm a boxing guy, which is true, but I started off in MMA. Like, I started off following around Miguel Torres and guys like Mike Brown, Uriah Faber. Yeah. Like, I'm an old school MMA dude, man. Like, when I see these younger cats come up, I'm like, you guys don't know the history of what we have come from. As MMA and as boxing. I mean, I remember watching Ken Shamrock, Tito Ortiz, UFC 40. And that was like our biggest pay-per-view,
And I think I watched that on pay-per-view. God, I can't remember what year that was. That was a long time ago. But Ken Shamrock, and it's amazing. You're right. The sport has come so far. If you watch those early day UFC events, with the changeover in management with them, I think they really brought a lot more to the table. I mean, I think Dana White and the Contender Series have really made a big difference.
I like that.
Yeah, it's a huge difference.
It's different though. Like it's more. I don't know if you're a pro wrestling guy, but it's like when Vince ran the WWE before they became public, and now it's the same kind of philosophy. It used to be. And it's fine, but it used to be more intimate with the UFC. Like I remember covering UFC 90 when they came to Chicago, and it was a very much mom and pop shop, even though they were a huge company. Now it's like this massive corporation and stuff. And it's great for the sport, but I kind of like how we felt it was more intimate. Like it wasn't,
back then, everybody kind of knew you back then. Now even trying to get a press pass for those events is like amazingly different. It's almost impossible these days. Whereas you used to be able to, get those things a little easier. Like I cover a lot of the other events too. I cover PFL, Cage Fury.
That's great.
Yeah, and it's a lot of like I said, they still have that kind of like feel that you're talking about. That kind of.
But the UFC's a monster, man. Man, oh man.
Yeah, it's a mammoth. And there's some really good events coming up. I mean, I'm really excited about, Khabib Ferguson.
Oh, that fight's going to be incredible, man. I mean, I think that's one of the best fights in in both sports. You know what I mean?
Long time. Yeah. No, it's definitely, a lot of people are like, well, if they stay standing, Ferguson's gonna do well. But if they hit the ground, man, I mean, I'm gonna have to go with Khabib on that one.
It just, we've never seen Khabib tested. I mean, we've seen him tested against Conor. I don't think people give Conor enough credit for what he was able to do in that first round against Khabib. And people are like, oh, well, Conor got smashed. If you watch that fight, no, he did not.
Yeah.
Like he gave Khabib some issues.
Yeah, in the beginning, yeah. Until like I said, Khabib is the best when he's on the ground. When he hits the ground, when he gets you tied up in that leg lock that he does, that twisted leg conversion that he does there, and it's an old school wrestling, keeps your hips flat, and then basically just drives his head right under your neck so you can't breathe. And just stalls you out. You got to carry his weight around. That gets exhausting after a while. Yeah,
and then people don't understand that he disrupts your breathing. He'll put his hand over your mouth and everything else, and all of that is like it's taking out the lung out of your air or out of your lungs and stuff like that. I mean, it's very smart what he does.
Oh yeah, and it's incredible. And he just waits for you to get tired, and then he just
exactly.
Yeah, and then once you're tired, it's over. So
Big time, man.
Yeah. So Tyson Fury.
Yes. Are we recording now? We're recording now, right?
Yes. Yeah. We've been recording a little while. Is that okay?
Cool. No worries. Yeah, of course.
Yeah,
absolutely.
I should have told you. I did the same thing with Bruce Buffer. I had him on a couple ago, and I was like, sometimes I just hit it right when I call, just because I don't want to miss. I don't want to forget. That's my main thing.
Yeah, absolutely.
Sometimes I'll talk to somebody and I'm like, crap, I haven't been recording anything. Damn it.
I got you.
But yeah, Bruce was the same. He's like, "Are we recording?" I'm like, "Yeah." He's like, "Oh, okay, that's okay." I was like,
"Yeah, of course.
Anything you say that you want me to take out, I'll take out." But
no, it's all good. But what about Tyson Fury now?
So Tyson Fury, man, your thoughts? I mean, Tyson Fury 1, Tyson Fury 2. I mean, we've both seen them both. Both fights. I mean, what are your thoughts on that, man? Because you were right there. You are kind of like the guy with being right in the mix there with that stuff.
Well, Tyson Fury looked incredible. I mean, the fact of what he was able to do, I thought a lot of us, with the exception of those in the Tyson Fury camp, thought that if he were to come after Deontay Wilder the second time, he was crazy. Everyone thought they're like, if Tyson, there's no way Tyson's going to do what he says, come after him, finish him off, really put Deontay Wilder in his back foot. They're like, there's no way that's possible.
Yeah.
He proved otherwise.
Right hand. If he caught him with that right hand, that could be lights out.
But Tyson Fury did something that we've never seen an opponent do to Deontay Wilder.
Oh, yeah.
Walk him down, put pressure, throw big power punches. And for him to do that and be as successful as he is, I have said this, and I'm going to tell you, Steve, that's probably one of the top 20 heavyweight performances in history. And I know that's going along a long list of historical, of big names and legends, but that's got to be top 20. And the reason why is because Fury isn't necessarily known as a knockout artist. And Deontay Wilder, I don't care what people say, heading into that fight, that dude was the baddest man on the planet, highest knockout percentage in heavyweight history, having defended his title for 5 years. And, knocking out Luis Ortiz, someone that not many people were clamoring to fight. He knocked out Luis Ortiz twice. And for Fury to do what he did, and also in the first fight, got knocked down twice, rose from the dead, comes back.
Which surprised the hell out of everybody.
I mean, I couldn't believe it at Staples Center. Yeah. And then for him to have the intestinal fortitude, it's a family-friendly show, so I'll put it that way, to come after Deontay Wilder.
You can put it any way you want.
I mean, just like to have the cojones that he did is unbelievable. But on the contrary, I'm tired of people when a guy has an undefeated record and he loses, then you start to hear about all the flaws that they have from the media and from fans. It's like it's the Floyd Mayweathering of combat sports. And look, Mayweather's 50-0. And there's a reason why he's going to go down as one of the all-time greats.
Yeah.
Not everybody's Mayweather. It's okay to suffer a loss.
Yeah.
So when people are saying, oh, well, Wilder's limited, he's this, he's that, not only are you disrespecting a champion who's been at the top of his game for 5 years, but you're discrediting and taking away the brilliance of Tyson Fury, which I think is unfortunate.
Oh, yeah, because Tyson Fury is no joke. I mean, he is one hell of a fighter. I mean, the guy is what is he, 270 pounds? And
270 plus, yeah, exactly.
Yeah, 270 plus, and he moves like a middleweight.
Well, that's the thing. Can you imagine a top defensive lineman in the NFL that has the speed of a guy that weighs less than a cornerback in the NFL and has the power of a monster heavyweight?
Yeah.
Fury is this anomaly. Like the heavyweight division, I don't think people realize how good it is right now. And it's a different breed. The same thing in the UFC and in MMA. We're seeing this new breed of heavyweights, the Stipes or the Stipes of the world, guys that can do everything, that are so agile on their feet. It's not the slow plodding heavyweight or whatever the case may be. It is that the sport has evolved so much, both boxing and MMA wise.
Oh, absolutely. You got guys that are big and move like acrobats. I mean, it's like
crazy.
Where does it even come from? I mean, you watch the feints that Fury is doing, and it's like you can't hit the guy. He's so big and he's right there, but you can't hit him.
Well, he's got great head movement too.
Yeah.
Like, just to get a little bit deeper into strategy, like you see him, he kind of comes out, he's moving his head. He never keeps his head on the straight line. And for those that are new to combat sports or that casually watch it, when you have your head in a stationary position, it's easier for your opponent to be able to time you and connect. But when your head's moving and going side to side, how can you time him? It's very difficult. Fury moves his head, has feints, and then still step to Deontay Wilder with the jab, powering away and pounding on him.
Yeah, coming in from the side. He never hits straight either. He hits from the side, comes in, hits from the side, hits from the side. And, Wilder just, wasn't able to land that big punch, that he had. And not taking anything. And I want you to know, I'm not taking anything away from Wilder. Phenomenal fighter. I mean, the fact of the matter is he came into that fight and Fury was just better that day. And
exactly. The better man won.
That's it. And
no excuses.
Yep.
It's okay to say that. It's like, we hear this. People are like, oh, well, why do we need to watch the third fight? Whatever. Well, the first fight was very close. The second fight was dominated by Fury, but the champion has the right contractually to exercise his rematch clause. Yep. That's okay when people, by the contract, when Evander Holyfield dominated Mike Tyson back in the mid-'90s, did people say, we don't want to see a second fight with Holyfield-Tyson? The entire world was there, and with the exception of the ear biting incident, I mean, that's another topic for another day, but you got to give the champ an opportunity to regain his belt.
Oh, yeah, absolutely, and that's the thing. I mean, they came into this knowing that whoever won this fight would get a rematch.
Exactly.
Right? Whoever lost the fight would get a rematch. And you know what? Whatever the financial agreement is, I don't know. I'm sure it changes with that. But the thing is, you got a guy who, like you said, for a long time dominated the heavyweight division, stayed the champion for a long time, has probably arguably one of the best punches in heavyweight boxing ever. Hands down. I mean, the guy, his record. I mean, you look at it and you're like, how many of those fights were knockouts? And 20 of them were a first-round knockout.
Exactly. I mean, Wilder has that eraser, and you can't ever count him out. And I'll be honest, Steve, heading into this third fight, I mean, from what has been talked about, I am really excited about this third fight because I think we are going to get a Deontay Wilder who is possessed beyond belief, who's never faced a loss in his professional career. The true greats respond in tremendous fashion. And I'll look back at Anthony Joshua when he lost to Andy Ruiz in June of last year. People were writing off Joshua. Oh, he's this, he's that, whatever the case may be. Joshua came back and fought a brilliant fight in Saudi Arabia and recaptured the title. Now, Fury, I know, is already in the gym, and I think we're going to get the best Tyson Fury, and we're going to get the best Deontay Wilder. This third fight is probably going to be the best one out of the trilogy. That's why I'm so damn excited to see this fight whenever it happens. It's been rumored for July. I hope that happens because, man, oh, man, Steve, Vegas is going to be rocking again.
They're going to do it in Vegas again, you think?
I think it'd be hard-pressed to the energy, the excitement. I don't think that the money that the MGM Grand can bring to the table can be superseded by most, arenas or cities around the world, especially with, it's unfortunate, we talked about it a little bit off air, but especially with this crazy, coronavirus outbreak that's happening all over the world.
Yeah. I mean, they're talking about shutting down all kinds of stuff, man. I mean, there's all kinds of events getting canceled. I'm hoping it does. I mean, what I'm hoping for is that it ends with the flu season, right? So
exactly. Like, let's get warm.
1 month. 1 month, it's over.
Yeah, let's get warm. Everyone get to the beaches. Let's just go and have fun again, man. I mean, life is too short.
Yeah, and like you were saying, I mean, I think having it in Vegas is a great move for the third fight. And I'm excited about it because, like you said, the first fight was so damn close, damn thing. And by Fury's own admission, he said that he really figured it out in the 12th round after he got knocked down that time in the 12th round. He said he got up and then he started pushing Wilder back. And then he realized that was the strategy he was going to try to employ if there was a rematch. And, he did. And, to a lot of people's surprise, he was able to take Wilder off his game, keep him on that back foot and keep him backing up, which, really threw his game off because he's used to being the aggressor.
And he's not used to someone stepping to him like that. I mean, it was, mentally and psychologically, it really plays a factor into a fighter's mind. And Deontay could not, set himself up well and throw that big right hand. He landed it a few times in the fight. And Fury moved his head enough to be able to absorb it and not get hit clean. So, but this third fight, I'm telling you, Steve, I think, it's a little bit, I remember watching it as a kid, the Riddick Bowe and Evander Holyfield trilogy. Yep. I mean, I think that third fight is going to be something very special, similar to that of that heavyweight trilogy.
Well, yeah, because you can go back years and you find these heavyweight, either it's two fights or trilogies where people have had through the past, and you could sit there and watch them in succession and just see the way people adjusted themselves, boxers adjusted themselves throughout these events and to kind of get a better outcome for themselves, So let's see what happens here, man. I think this is going to be phenomenal. I'm hoping, because one of the things that came out of, and I don't know if it might just be a rumor on the line out there, but one of the things that came out of Wilder's camp was that the suit he was wearing was too heavy, sapped his legs. I don't know. I don't know if that's an excuse. My thought would be look, I think he just got outboxed that day. Doesn't mean he's not going to win tomorrow. Just means
it's frustration. And I understand. People don't understand. You are literally putting everything on the line. You're risking your life when you get in that ring. Oh, yeah. And these are fighters. They get punched in the head for a living. So right after the defeat, do you really think that fighters are going to be thinking with a clear mind? No, you're an alpha male, and you just got finished off in front of the entire world. Yep. So you're not going to be in the best of moods, and you may say some things that people may not agree with, but at the end of the day, you are that 0.001% of caliber of athlete that can step in that ring and fight for a world title and fight for the distinction of being the baddest man on the planet. Whether you're in there for a minute or you go the full 36, I got the utmost respect for all fighters.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. And so do I. I think, those guys are both amazing fighters. Anyone who even dares even if it's an amateur fighter, I'm telling you, if you're going to if you have the guts to step into a ring, into a combat sporting event, there's some local amateur events around here I'm going to start covering that I've reached out to already. And because I want to support everybody. I want to support all these guys because what they do, I mean, you could literally, I don't know if you follow Cage Fury at all, but I just watched, and I had James Gonzalez on, who's now the featherweight champ over there, and he got into the ring with 6 days' notice to challenge the champion, Pat Sabatini, and he finished him off in the first round.
It's crazy.
I mean, with 6 days' notice, had to drop 16 pounds to make weight for the fight.
Oh, yeah, and 100% and stuff, Steve. And that's the thing is that, we're as I go ahead and look at, local club shows, I think that's important for the betterment of the sport. It's like, we need to support local club boxing matches, local club MMA shows. I mean, that's exactly, I think it's very important to be able to go out and do that. I mean, I remember hearing a story with a Hoosier Fight Club, and they had Dominic Reyes in their main event probably a couple of years ago, and now he's fighting John Jones. I remember watching Miguel Torres, a guy that got me started into combat sports, watching what they were able to do and seeing him fight on the local scene in Hammond, Indiana. And then he became the WC world champion and went on to the UFC, all those guys. So very, very happy. And, we need to support local club shows.
And that's it. I don't think they get enough love. I mean, that's why I want to make sure they do get some love, because it's one of those things where all these guys in the UFC, you don't fight in the UFC just walking into the UFC. You fight in other areas first. You fight in a place where maybe 20 people are watching you, and then eventually a lot of these other leagues are feeds.
Exactly. Like Monty Cox was great to me when I was 17, 18 years old. TJ Thompson, who used to run Super Brawl back in Hawaii, he was awesome. I mean, I had a lot of people that were like awesome to me early on in my career, when I was starting off and everything. So I believe in passing that down and paying it forward. Yeah,
and it's really important. And that's the thing. I'm all about helping people. Yeah. I mean, I don't know I'm a social worker by trade. Okay. I went to the University of Southern California for I got a master's in social work. So trade, that's really what I am. So I am very much into helping people understand, and like I said, I fell in love with mixed martial arts at a young age, and combat sports in general. Yeah. My stepfather was a big part of that. My stepfather, Ron, who passed away a few years ago. Wow. Yeah, unfortunately, it's something that happens in life. But, he was a big Mike Tyson fan. He was a big,
Gotcha.
He would drag me to watch all these things, and it got me, I got the bug,
absolutely.
I'm in love with it.
I'm ready to get back going, man. So what else? I got like another, 5 to 6 and stuff, man. So
that's fine.
By all means, shoot.
So Tyson Fury 3. Really exciting. I really want to check that fight out. I'm going to try to get out there to Vegas, hopefully, for that fight, because I really want to see the third one, and we'll see if I can get out there. But so quick question on you, right?
Yes.
I've become kind of a little bit of an interviewer of the interviewers.
Yeah.
So how did you? I mean, your start. What was your start like? I mean, you explained it a little bit to me about how you started, but what made you kind of get into this line of work and start doing this? And
well, I grew up watching boxing with my dad when we were watching Julio Cesar Chavez Sr., I think the all-time greatest Mexican fighter, greatest Mexican boxer of all time. Then when I was, I started doing local TV, public access TV, Miguel Torres was fighting in Hammond, Indiana, and local fights. And he's from my hometown. I'm from East Chicago, Indiana, which is probably 20 minutes away from downtown Chicago. And he was, starting off in MMA, really kicking, butt and everything else and stuff like that. And I was, we started following him around a little bit, doing interviews with him, doing some pieces. And then I asked him, like, hey, he cornered Stephan Bonner during the first Ultimate Fighter finale, which to my opinion, is the greatest MMA fight in history because of what it did with Bonner and Griffin. For those of you that are new to MMA or, barely coming on, watch Bonner Griffin #1. That's the most important UFC fight in history. Dana White will admit to it. Without that fight, who knows if we're even talking about the success of the UFC now. But he cornered Stephan Bonner in that fight. A month later, I called my first MMA show. It was Super Brawl 40 at the Hammond Civic Center, when you had the likes of Miguel Torres against Mike French. You had Jeff Curran, who's a legend, who happened to work for his company, the XFO. Years later, you had Spencer Fisher, who was a heck of a UFC lightweight back in the day. Tony Ficklin was there, who was a badass from Militich Fighting Systems. I was there with Monty Cox, who at the time had Tim Sylvia as, the UFC heavyweight champion. Matt Hughes, he was like the manager for Militich Fighting Systems. So that's where I grew up. I grew up in MMA first because boxing was still old school and this and that. Then I went to Columbia College in Chicago, did an MMA boxing radio show similar to you. but in college, and then started covering local fights, and then a local promoter, Joe Goitia, who probably is the reason why I'm sitting here today, from Total Fight Challenge, asked me to ring announce one of his MMA shows at the Hammond Civic Center. This is probably 13, 14 years ago. And then from there, Mike Davis of Cutthroat MMA asked me to do some fights. And then I got into boxing, and, it just built from there. And, TGB Promotions has really catapulted me to that next level, Tom Brown and everybody else. So I got a lot of thanks to give to a lot of promoters all over the world. But I got my start in the Chicagoland area.
Yeah, and I think everybody kind of has that story. It's like there's always people that are influential in your life as you're coming up through any type of whether it's sports announcing or any other industry. You always that you become successful, and there's always people that are instrumental along the way, which I think is really important to give them shout outs and stuff and let that and that kind of.
I got a lot of them, my man. I mean, I literally have a long, just a laundry list of people to thank and what they meant to my career. So, I am a byproduct of everyone else's hard work and dedication. That's a fact.
Well, you're definitely, a guy who's very busy. You're out there. You're at a lot of events, man. Like I said, I follow you on Instagram and on Facebook and everywhere. And like I said, you're always, like every week you're at another event doing something, whether it's a presser or you're actually calling a commenting. Yeah. It's just amazing to, like I said, you got a great personality for it. You do a great job at it. And I really appreciate you taking the time today to come on and talk to me, man.
Steve, really appreciate it, my man. Let's make it a more of a frequent occurrence. Hope to see you at some fights. And I love attitudes like you and guys like you that are so important for our sports. And I'll tell you why, because it's easy to come to the big fights, and look, they're very important. They're instrumental. They draw a lot of revenue for what we do as a sport. But guys like you, I remember, and I'm very similar to you because I love covering the local club fights, the local MMA promotions, the local boxing promotions, because that's where you see that next tier getting ready to break out. And you want to be able to say, like, I remember when Neil Magny made his amateur debut, like I announced Neil Magny's amateur debut. I announced his professional debut. Like I go back when Pat Curran fought Darren Elkins back at the Hammond Civic Center. They were both undefeated lightweights. They beat the crap out of each other. Curran went on to become the Bellator featherweight and lightweight champion. Darren Elkins still in the UFC. Like I've been around, and I love seeing those kind of fighters get their stage. But you got to go to the local club fights to support it, because the club fights, the club shows are the lifeblood of the sport. So props to you, my man. Keep it up. I love reading your reviews, the radio show, everything, man. You're doing an awesome job.
I appreciate that, man, so much. You have no idea how much I appreciate that. Tons of love for what you're doing as well, man. Like I said, it's inspirational. I love to see it. I love when you're at the events, and we will make this a more frequent thing as long as, like I said, I would love to have it often, man. So
no doubt, man.
We'll catch up. Let me know when you're in New York next time, man, and we'll catch up.
Appreciate it, Steve. Have a great one, man. Talk to you.
You too, brother. Be good.
Later, man.